They were what we thought it would be. Mentally and physically tough. They battled us all the way. All right. They just out-executed them. So, again, there's going to be games like that. That's what it's going to be.
Welcome to your favorite Tennessee Titans podcast, Tennessee Titans Weekly. Jacques.
Hawk.
Jacques.
Hawk.
What up, folks? Good evening. Good evening. So, the Titans with a loss to the New England Patriots, 36-13. Of course, we have a lot to talk about on this game. I think Jacques and I are not surprised of this, of course, but a few things we're going to definitely discuss, some eye-opening things in our opinion. We're going to chop it up on it, definitely, man.
I definitely agree, man. And like you said, this wasn't a surprise. I mean, we kind of foreseen this coming. But like you said, we will get into it, man. And good luck, good job for us getting to the bye. So we needed this. I think all players, coaches, fans, strength and conditioning coaches need a mental break, man. So mental break from football. Guys, just men and women, take a break from football this weekend. The Titans ain't playing.
That is facts, no paper, bro.
Hey, mentally decompress.
Man.
Cut your TV on, cut some Netflix on Sunday.
Yep.
And just chill, man. Just chill, get your mind right.
Yep.
Peek in from time to time. But hey, everybody just needs a mental reset, man. And
really
just come back strong. So.
Really do, man. And the Titan players that if any that are watching the show, man, get your bones mending, get your tendons mending, right? Get your stretch on, right? Get them hamstrings, right? Because hamstring 19 has sure hit the Titans, definitely. And surprisingly, there were a lot of highlights in this game. So we'll talk about it. But So Jacques, man, so we lost this game, bro. You know, again, 36-13, Bill Belichick versus Mike Vrabel, teacher versus student, or at least coach versus former player. New England was a 7-point favorite going into the game. So they were favored to win this game, and we spoke on it very heavy prior to. So we lost. You know, we dusting ourselves off with a 3 seed in the playoffs right now. The playoffs started today. New England would be the 2 seed. So give us reasons, man, why we lost this game to the Patriots, bro.
Well, one reason, and this is the reason that you're not going to win most games. I know it happened last night with the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, but turnovers, right?
Yeah, man.
When you got momentum, those are momentum killers, man. Momentum killers. And the first turnover was really a momentum killer because you had momentum running the ball, right?
Yep.
Second turnover was another momentum killer, right? After that second turnover, I think it decompressed the Titans and took the win out of this game for us altogether. And then the third turnover, you throw, of course, Tannehill throws another interception, right? I can't ask them to do much more. But one reason is just turnovers, man. We've had what?
I think
9. We had 3 this game. I think we had 6 last week.
Yeah. 4 turnovers. 9 or 10 turnovers. Yes.
Yeah. So this is something that's uncharacteristic of the Titans. One, right, and 2, it shows us where the focus wasn't there, and we need to get to the bye, basically, right?
Yep.
So that's one reason. 2, I was just joking with Hawk. I said, man, it's snowing. The Titans gonna lose this game.
That's right, man.
But that's just a joke. But I mean, but just 2. I mean, how are you going to win with what you got on offense, right?
Yep.
You got nobody to throw to, dog. Like, I mean, play calling was okay from what you had to work with. But, I mean, I can't ask you to win with all practice squad players, right? Now, and those are practice squad players. They will. Practice squad players are going to make mistakes, for example, and they don't take advantage of their opportunities when you need them to step up. Like, case in point, Kenneth Cole, the linebacker that almost had an interception, and he could have took it to the house.
Right.
That would have went to the house, and it would have been another thing. But it's one of those things where it's just we kind of knew as Titans fans, and I think some Titans fans knew that this was going to be a game of a challenge, right? We were in the game, don't get me wrong,
right?
But this is just a freaking challenge, right?
Yep,
it's a challenge.
Yep,
and it was an uphill challenge to say, hey. And third, I'm gonna get to the defense on this one. Something that's been working for us for the past maybe 4 or 5 games, I will say that, for a while. This best actually most of the season is rushing the passer, getting pressure. There was no pressure. I don't even think we did record one sack, but it was from Byard. And you asking your safeties and your DBs to get sacks is not good.
Right.
This is where you miss Bud Dupree. This is where the injury bug play comes into play.
Yep.
We couldn't get no pressure on Mac Jones. We couldn't get no pressure on him, right? And I think that ultimately allowed him to sit back there and do his best to dink and dunk because he's still, to me, he's an okay quarterback. He's still a rookie. He's still getting used to the system, but he doesn't make that too many mistakes, right? So defensively, we didn't tackle well. We were horrible at tackling. So those 3 points, man, I think is to why we lost the game, man. What about you?
So I will give the same, sentiments on all things you just said. That's, 100%, lack of talent to me was a big reason here. When you're expecting, Hilliard, who was probably 2 weeks ago watching the game on the couch, right? You're asking Deontay Foreman, who probably was doing the exact same thing, probably working at Lowe's somewhere. How might I help you today, right? I'm here at Lowe's. Can I help you, please, right? You call them up and say, hey, bro, you're going to start next week for us, man. Be ready, right? Now, Hilliard and Foreman, they did their job. They did an unbelievable job. Hilliard had 131 yards rushing. Foreman had 109 yards rushing on 19 carries, right? So these guys did very well. And I attribute that more to the offensive line. The offensive line did an unbelievable job. But we're putting Cody Hollister out on the field as your number 2 receiver. We got Nick Westbrook-Akina as your number 1 receiver, right? Against a top-notch defense, okay? J.C. Jackson, a top-notch corner out there, right? You got Devin McCourty, a possible Hall of Fame safety out there, right? You got guys that are out there defensively. Even the other corner, Jalen Mills, those guys are good ball players. And I think, I look at it like this. So I called and I talked to Jared Stillman today on this show. And I'd asked him, I was like, about he felt that, the Titans could have won this game, wouldn't have won this game even with Derrick Henry, or basically Derrick Henry wouldn't have made that big of an impact. Well, I beg to differ because Deontay Foreman fumbled, Derrick Henry wouldn't have fumbled. That would have been a touchdown. Okay, so let's get that out the way too. But it's almost like Austin Peay playing Alabama in college football, right? Austin Peay might hang in there for 2 quarters. And then as the game keeps going on, talent supersedes non-talent all the time, especially in football, okay? The only breaker in that is turnovers, just like us losing to the Texans last week. We're a more talented team. We just had 6 turnovers. You can't overcome that. But probably 9 times out of 10, we'd probably beat the Texans, okay? So for us against the Patriots, it was talent, lack of talent, right? Play calling wasn't too bad. Jacques and I have discussed this. 1 or 2 plays, of course. I'm sure the 4th down play in the end zone, the Tannehill interception, probably should have been a run play, probably, right? Probably could have ran 3rd and 4th down, right? It was points and times we kept throwing the ball. I was like, just run the damn ball, right? But that interception was just like a touchback. It wasn't, it was a turnover, but it would, even if we had not scored, it was tipped down. It would have been a touch. It would have been in the same spot for the most part. And, he's throwing it to Cody Hollister. Who? Right. Exactly. Lack of talent. And I really feel that we prepared very well for the Patriots. I really do. And we'll talk more about that. But, more than anything, our players being hurt, we lead the NFL in injuries. We have 86 players that have played for the Titans, the most in the NFL by far, by like 10 more players, right? I think that is starting to wane on us a little bit. We've been holding water as much as we can. And there's a lot of mishaps here and there. The Chris Jones play on special teams, terrible play, a lot of missed field goals and extra points. Those things are bad. But again, look who's out there. These guys are being paid minimum wage out there, and we're asking them to play 90% of the game. So they'll get better, these guys that are not playing. But I think it was a battle of attrition, and it's starting to catch up to us. That's just my opinion on it.
I agree.
Yep.
So, they always say you have to blame somebody, which you really don't. But Who would you put this loss on? What would you put this loss on? Why do you think, or who's the blame for the loss?
Man, I'm going to say the defense, dude. I'm blaming the entire defense in the second half. The entire defense. I felt we played lackluster on defense. I think Bill Belichick was going after Byard this game for some reason. Almost had like a personal vendetta against Byard. Jonnu Smith looked like a Hall of Famer in the first half, but at the end of the day, he only had 3 catches. It was weird. It seemed like he had more than that. He had a rush too, but Byard overall had a sack. He led the team in tackles, but man, he was being challenged deep. Okay, and Hunter Henry was giving him problems. Jack Rabbit Jenkins did not play a good game. Not tackling well at all. Jayon Brown probably played the worst of all of them on defense, right? The defense struggled. Elijah Molden had some bad plays too, right? Missed tackles, a lot of missed tackles, especially in the second half. To a point, I was kind of thinking, well, damn, are they looking for the bye week? Are they in a situation like, man, we just trying to get this game over with, dog. We ain't win our offense, man. We can't score that many points, bro. Man, we trying. So think about it at your own jobs. You got vacation tomorrow, right? Think about that. That last day before vacation, you either probably go, 100% core, or kind of like, man, I'm kind of just trying to get through the day. I'm sitting there thinking of, okay, when I go out of town, I need to do this. And it seemed like in the second half, the defense went on vacation mode. And, Jeffrey Simmons, I thought, played very well. I know he didn't get a sack, but he was tackling, he was touching guys. They was falling, collapsing. Like he was definitely out there. But I think outside of him, no one on defense played well in the second half. Nobody. I blame the defense. The offense made a lot of mistakes too, and special team blunders all over the field, right? But our defense, when you look at time of possession, we had more of time of possession. So it wasn't like they were out there just as long as the Patriots. We had more time of possession, right? And Mac Jones had a career high. He had over 300 yards passing against us. He hadn't thrown over 300 yards yet in his career, right? So, they were having fun on our defense in the second half. So I don't know if we were just out coached, but we definitely were outplayed on defense. So I blame the defense. It's on you guys moving forward right now. And we said that in the pregame show. It's on the defense. So that's for me. What about you, Jacques? Who you pointing the finger to, bro?
I have to mimic that. Like, I mean, you said it the best. It was on the defense. I was fussing the whole time when we were talking. It was the defense. Because the defense was your hope to keep you in the game and keep at least the Matt Jones at bay, right? At least they did good stopping the run. I mean, they did real good at stopping the run. They did a hell of a job stopping the run. It was just so uncharacteristic, and I had to think about it. What gets you those turnovers on defense? Is rushing the passer, getting pressure on them. We went back to last year's Titans where we couldn't get no pressure, right? No pressure. You're asking Roberson to go out there and get you a sack. I think Naquan Jones might have had a sack too. Naquan Jones did have a sack. I think him and Roberson, I think, probably combined for one.
Right.
But it's one of those things where Bill Belichick did his homework, right? He did his homework. He did a good job. I give Bill his credit. He's one of the greatest coaches ever to coach the game. But I guarantee you, with us, if David Long Jr. was out there, it would have been a different story.
Facts.
Right?
No paper.
Bud Dupree was out there, it would have been a different story.
Facts.
I'd
no
even
paper.
put Rashawn Evans out there. It would have been a different story.
No paper.
Right? So it's just what you have out there right now. You even got practice squad guys on defense. You got Pecco playing. You got Naquan playing. Tierra Tart.
Buster Screen.
Right. Buster Screen. So right now, you're limping on kind of both sides of the ball, and especially on that defensive line. When you're missing the front four, it shows. And when you used to asking Byard to come back, kind of revert back to what he was doing last year, saying, "Hey, I want you to man up on this receiver." And Byard didn't have a good game. He didn't, and it just wasn't his day. I think he didn't have a good game either on last Sunday. So I think, like you said, man, it was one of those things where it's just, hey, we're ready to get to the bye. We kind of just out of it. We don't care. We got to mentally reset. And I think, like I said, I go back and I blame the NFL for this. When you have added an extra game to your season, you have to make up for it in other ways by adding extra roster spots, right? You might need 2 buys, right? You might need 2 buys just so they can reset and get their body physically ready. So this is just a mess. But for me, I blame the defense, bro.
I got you, man. So, despite this being a game that we got beat, I think the score was more than what the game looked like, right? Because we missed a lot of points on the board. We did. Now, I say New England, they had some opportunities too. I'm not going to get that twisted. The Hunter Henry drop, the missed pass from Mac Jones to hit Hunter Henry, he was wide open. He beat Byard, as we talked about. Yep. But I do think there was a lot of positives in this game, Jock. And we got to talk about that too, bro. You know what I'm saying? In the loss, it's kind of like, okay, well, let's look at it optimistically. if there were some positives. Did you see any positives this game?
Oh, yes, I did. And I was actually kind of shocked. Okay. One positive that I seen I'm going to talk about is the ball movement, the coaching on offense. We actually, the O-line, and you said it earlier, man, bravo to the offensive line, okay? To go up against a defensive front like the Patriots, who have a pretty decent defensive front, and to hold fort and to block how you blocked, you did a damn good job, because what you did was you allowed us to get back to form of having our identity back, which is run the ball, right?
Thanks.
We ran the ball like we would have Henry out there. I mean, Hillard had a 61-yard scamper, and we haven't had one of those since Henry went down, right?
Facts. No
So
problem.
the offensive line completes the run game. It's just those blunders, it's like, okay, what happened, right? So that's a positive that you can actually take going forward. I'm more confident now to say, okay, hey, we're not going to lack in the run game going forward when we play certain teams. So when we play Jacksonville, I need that same energy from you guys to where you did the run game. We don't want to get Tannehill throwing 50 times a game. So we need y'all to step up so we can at least have Julio and Golden Tate and all him out here at least doing something, right? Yep. So to offensive line, run game, and hand in hand, even though the two running backs had a fumble, shout out to Hilliard, man, because he fumbled that ball, and I always say this: how do you respond? Yep. Right? How do you, when you make a mistake, how do you respond? And he responded with a touchdown, and I'm proud of that young man for what he's been doing. And you know me, Hawk, and folks, if you've been watching the show ever since the beginning, you know I'm all about consistency. And Hilliard is showing me that he's consistent week to week, right? But we know why he's a practice squad guy, because can't hold on to the ball, bro. You know what I'm saying? Can't hold on to the ball. That's right. It sucks. Another thing too is we competed to a certain point. Yeah. And I was happy. I was like, okay, we're actually competing. We're actually in this game. But the mistakes is what's continuing to shoot yourself in the freaking foot, right? Thanks. And, you know, we had some Patriots fans in the comment section talking they mess. Hey, do your thing, right? But you got to remember, Patriots fans, this is a different team than what if we see you guys again in the playoffs. You're going to get a different team. Like, I'm going to tell you, and Wade Vrabel thinks he's not going to get beat twice. So the team that you've seen out there, don't think if you play us again in the playoffs, don't think you're going to come out and see this particular team, what you're seeing now. So positives that you can take after the bye, your offensive line, if it continues to block like that, you got you something, right? You got you something. You got you something. The run game, if the run game continues, you got your identity back. As long as you get your identity back on offense in the run game, you good. I just need to get Julio, Golden. What can you do, bro? And hell, even keep Nick and Keena Westbrook out there, because Chester Rogers has done okay, but he's not adding any value. So that's for me, man. Those are the positives I see. What about you?
So I look at Ben Jones. I look at Aaron Brewer. I look at David Quisenberry. And I look on that left side, Roger Saffold and Taylor Lewan. They did a hell of a job, man. And again, most times people don't talk about the offensive line until they have a bad game. Okay. So I'm not going to do that, because they held fort. Okay. They did unbelievable against a formidable defense. Okay. The Patriots, they have a top 5 defense, number 3 in run defense. Okay. We ran all through the Patriots as if they didn't even exist, their defense. And it was kind of crazy to see Hilliard and Foreman both rush for over 100 yards rushing. 2 players, 2 free agent, backup, 4th stringers running for 100 yards. What does that say about your defense, New England, on run defense, right? And thinking we had Derrick Henry, how much of a difference it would be. So yes, I give the Patriots a lot of credit. Hey, man, you play the game. You win the game. They were coached very well. They put players in spots. And defensively, I felt New England did a really good job in the pass defense, right? But if we had all our players, and we mentioned this in the pre-show, Jacques, that we feel that if we had all our players, a majority of them, not say not all of them. I mean, if we had the majority, we could beat the Patriots. Oh, and yes. I do believe that. I do believe that. And again, when I look at the offensive line, I look at the fact that you got 2 guys literally that no one knows in the world but Titan fans. Mm-hmm. Dontrell Hilliard and Deontay Foreman 3 weeks ago was not employed by the NFL. Okay. Right. They had over 100 yards rushing. and it was unbelievable. I was like, wow, I can't believe this. And I felt that Vrabel did a great job in getting them set up and, getting it where, when you look at, our offense, and we're going to run the ball. He's telling all the coaches, hey, man, we're sticking to the run game. Because Ryan Tannehill didn't throw the ball a lot. Nope. He was under 100 yards passing. We have not even mentioned Tannehill. And some people might be like, Tannehill had a terrible game, whatever. Well, when you have Nick Westbrook-Akina, Cody Hollister, Chester Rogers, and Des Fitzpatrick as your only receivers on the roster, bro, that's not saying a lot, okay? Right. So I'm not saying giving a pass on Tannehill right now, but I'm just saying that the offensive line did so good that Tannehill, it's not a thought right now. You know what I'm saying? And great job to the offensive line. You guys held ground. You held your water in the battle. And so hopefully we can add to that, as the season goes along and win football games, because the stretch that we have with the talent that we have on the field, we have to get players healthy. We're not going to win many football games, folks. We're just being honest. And
to add to that, and a great point, Hawk. If Derek was out there, the same thing, Tannehill probably would have had the same numbers. He would have had the same numbers because he, like you said, he didn't have to throw.
Right.
I would judge Tannehill once we have our full arsenal.
Right.
If Tannehill is still doing what he's doing now with AJ, Julio, and all them out there, then we got a problem. Houston, we kind of he's silly. He's hit his ceiling, and everybody knows that he has to have the king back there to complement him. You got to have AJ. You got to have Julio. You're not Aaron Rodgers. You're not Tom Brady. You're trying to ask him to be that, and he's not.
Right.
So, but great points, man. Like you said, we just build off that and keep it pushing. And just Titans fans, and I think most Titans fans are logically thinking, hey, we heard. And any Pats fans that get in the comment section, Bill Belichick is pissed, right? He's pissed, right? Yep. Y'all won the game, but just talking to Albert Hainsworth and how Bill Belichick thinks, 200 and allowing 200 rushing yards on 2 practice squad players, that's not a good look, because what we just did was we gave the league the blueprint on how to beat the Patriots defense. Case in point, when y'all played the Colts, you got Jonathan Taylor, and he can run amok. And hey, they got their players. So, Bill Belichick is pissed right now. Just FYI.
Yep, absolutely. So like I said, Jacques, we're going into the bye week, man. We're taking the punch to the chin, bro, and we got to move forward. We got to get players back healthy over this bye. There's several players like Julio Jones and those guys are supposed to be coming back. Each week we're supposed to add more players. Hopefully, we get enough up to the certain point at the end of the season that we'll be ready, because we'll be in the playoffs. Just a matter of who we face, and are we going to be at home or away? And so we'll see, man.
It should be home. Should be home. The division. It'll be home, because
it should be home.
You almost got the division sold. I think if we beat the Jags next week, I think you are 98% divisional winners at that point.
That's right.
So I think you'll be good. And just if the Colts drop one more, then they're done. So
right. That's
shout out to the Bucks for that.
Yep. Good job, Tampa. Good job, man. So
that's the only person. Before we get out of here, that's one positive. Every AFC team in the AFC South lost.
Right.
So that actually helped us out. So
it does.
Salute to all those teams that were able to take care of business to keep us in the lead in the AFC South. So thanks.
That's right. And you know what's so crazy about the AFC South? Do you all know what team is 2-1 in the division? The Houston Texans. Ain't that crazy?
Insane.
2-1. So, but that, I mean, there's no worries there. Just saw that. I was like, damn, I didn't know they were 2-1. I didn't think about that. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Yep. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, that ends the show, folks. As always, thank you for tuning in. Regardless if we win or lose, we're here. We bleed Titan Blue at the end of the day. And, we hope and continue to hope that they will continue to improve as well. You can always check us out on Instagram at Tennessee Titans Weekly. Check us out on Twitter at Titans Weekly 24/7. You can also check us out on Apple and Spotify. We're on there as well, too. Check us out there. For those that listen to podcasts, audio, check us out. And as well, too, if you want to email us, you can email us at TennesseeTitansWeekly@gmail.com, folks.
And when you do check us out, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, right? Subscribe to our Apple Podcast and Spotify. And if you do, like you said, you want to reach out, you always got an email address, man. You out, do what you got to do. But hey, we're on a bye. Like I said, everybody go mentally decompress.
Yep.
Take a breath.
Yep.
Let's go and chill and get our mind right. Get our players back. Let's get to Titan football next week, and let's go about it. So, hey, take us away, Hawk.
Yes, sir. And as we always do, folks, we appreciate you all watching the show. And to you and yours, and for the rest of the week, as we always state, y'all. Facts!
No paper!